Hello and welcome to my video on Google Slides. I am a big supporter of Google Slides, so I'm going to hopefully this video will not go too long. Google Slides was first created as the Google counterpoint, I believe, of PowerPoint. So its intention was for presentations, right? Presenting a project where you have slides that go behind you while you're speaking. But I have found that it just kind of became this open program that allowed creativity really to soar. So I wanted to go ahead and just show you how to use Google Slides as a teacher and how it can help you. So to get to Google Slides, you do have to go to the 9-dot menu and you'll see Slides as an option. And when you open it up, they have different templates along the top that you may want to use if you aren't really sure where to start. But to be honest, I always like to start with the blank one. And so I'm going to just click blank to open up a brand new one. This is automatically being saved on my Google Drive, but I can get to a point here where I'm going to decide where I want this document to actually be saved. But the Google Slides automatically opens up with a default page size that usually works with the screen for presenting. But I find that I use Google Slides more for creating digital assignments. And so the first thing I do is I ask myself, what am I going to be working on here? If I'm creating a presentation, I'm going to leave it the way that it is. If I'm trying to create a worksheet, either a single sheet or a whole packet, I need to change the page size to match a sheet. And so I do this by going up to File, Page Setup, and I can either click from one of the options, but usually I do custom fit and I have it set as inches, and depending on if I want it to be an 11 by 8.5 portrait, notice the page has changed to the size of a regular piece of paper, or landscape, or if I want it to be portrait, I can go back. That's not what I meant to do. Sorry. I can say File, again, Page Setup, and this time I can change it to be 8.5 by 11. I just switched them, and when I apply it, notice my page changed to be a portrait worksheet. And then I like to think of each slide as another page in my packet. And so you can create as many pages as you want, each page being as if you had a packet that you were turning. So what you can do with Google Slides is large, and there's a lot here, and I'm not going to go into all of it, but the toolbar is where you're going to find all of your help. So, it automatically sets you up here with some text boxes, but I tend to start from the beginning, so I just selected them all and deleted. And now I just need to ask myself, what am I trying to make? But you have the ability to add text boxes. You can add pictures, either directly from the internet or that you have saved on your computer, or from your Google Drive, all from right here. You can add shapes. There are regular shapes, arrowed shapes, callouts, equation-related shapes. You can make lines, arrows, curved lines, freehand drawn lines. You can change the background. So do you want your entire page to be a different color? Or maybe do you want your page to be a picture? And this is where I make all my digital assignments. So I'm going to show you really quickly. So feel free to pause, rewind this video, however you need to see what I'm doing. I've changed it back so that way my background color is just white. And I'm going to create a worksheet right here that my kids can then fill out on their own. So it's a habit, even though it's kind of worthless because now that we're online, everything is tagged with their name. But because I may end up using this assignment in person, I'm going to make sure I always include that name at the upper left-hand corner, or anything else that you regularly want your kids to include. So I have that there at the top. Then I'm going to add another text box here and make a title. Let's say, I don't know. Yeah, let's do that. Word definitions. Let's say we're doing an assignment on word definitions. I'm putting it in the center. I'm making it larger because it's my title. All of the regular features, bold, italic, underline. Maybe I want the color to be red. I want it to be highlighted yellow. I don't know. It's entirely up to you, but you can do a lot with this. I'm going to make sure it's centered on my page, and I now have a title. Let's say then I want my students to, whoops, that's not what I meant to do. I want them to list off word and definitions. So I need to provide them with a list of words. I'm going to use a table to do that because it's just a lot easier for me. Let's say I have 6 words, and I'm going to, let's say, I'm not going to try to come up with words right now. I'm just going to go word number 1 and word number 2, word 3, and word number 6. Okay, so let's say those are all of the words that I need my students to be able to match with the definition that we've been learning. I'm going to put it in the center. I'm going to make them bigger because why not? Bold, you can change. I mean, you really can change almost anything. So let's say I have, there are my words, and I then need the definitions. So I'm going to just put it on the other side here. And just say definition number 1. Obviously, you would write the real things. But I'm just showing you how I'm going to make it and turn it into a digital assignment. Okay, so let's pretend we got all that. So these are my words and these are my definitions. I want my students to just draw a line connecting the word to the definition. So I'm going to add another text box here at the top and say, draw a line from, whoops. Obviously you could change things, but that's the direction. Okay, so now that I've done that, I want to make sure that my lines, the lines around my table aren't really there, so you can't see it, and now I have my words and my definitions. Now, I could share this assignment with my kids right away and tell them to draw the lines. I would show them how to draw the lines, but I could tell them. But what I can see happening already is my student's going to click and accidentally delete something, and then it's going to become this whole issue of, well, I didn't know what it was, it's not there on my copy, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And that's where you're going to go into background mode. So you're going to start by designing everything that you do not want students to be able to change. So this is the way my page would be when I print it out and hand it to them. So I am going to, while this slide is highlighted, press File and Download as a, I'm going to do PNG or JPEG, they both work. So it's downloaded. I can see that down here at the bottom. I'm going to go to a new slide. And I'm going to change the background of this slide to an image. Specifically, that image that I just downloaded from the slide before. I'm going to have it load, and notice my slide looks exactly like the slide I designed. The only difference is my first slide, I can still edit it. My second slide, I cannot change anything. It's embedded into the background. So this would be a slide that you would have in your assignment that you would send to your students because they can't change anything. So they would get, and for the sake of this, I'm just going to temporarily delete. You wouldn't delete the old one in case you wanted to make changes in the future, but this would be the assignment. You would say, okay, word, definitions, I don't know, 2nd grade class. Okay, now that I've put a title to it, I'm going to make sure I have it saved where I want. So I can star it if it's something I'm going to use regularly, or I can go to this little image here that says move, and I can decide where in my drive I want to save it. If you aren't comfortable with Google Drive yet, please go back to my YouTube channel. I do a video on that. But this is related to ELA, so I want it to be saved in my ELA folder, and I'm going to move it here. Now, this would be the literal assignment that I would share through Google Classroom with my students, making sure they each get their own copy. And now the student can just draw a line from one to the other, submitting their answer claiming, they can change the, the color, they can change how thick it is, but at the end, I just need them to connect a line between the word and the definition. So they could do that with this entire assignment. Drawing new lines. And so I've created basically a digital assignment for them to complete without being able to edit anything in the background. So that's really where I use Google Slides for more than for presentations. But as we go digital, we may find that we're going to have our students creating a lot more presentations on the computer that then they can share with their other students over the internet. Who knows what's going to end up happening, but I am a huge, huge supporter for Google Slides. I think it's just a wonderful system that allows people to really show their creativity, but it isn't too overwhelming because, as you can see here, I've made a very, very basic worksheet in only a couple of minutes. So hopefully that helps as well. And if there's anything else, any other questions you have about Google Slides, please feel free to reach out to me. I would love to help. So good luck.